Hello and welcome to my second episode in government. Today we're going to talk about taking the first steps when introducing lean to government. Today I will take some time to give you real examples, my examples. How did I start with the City of Grand Rapids in Michigan, and how did I start my career with a local government? Prior to joining local government, I worked for automotive industry. That's where I learned lean. And the way I learned lean 25 years ago was on the floor with senseis, coaches, and trainers who taught us how to utilize lean tools and then allow us to practice it on the shop floor or in the office. Then in 2008, I got a call from a friend who worked for the mayor of City of Grand Rapids. So my friend said that there was an opening with the City of Grand Rapids and they're looking for someone with lean experience, someone who can come in, train them, develop people, and work on some lean projects. Basically, start implementing lean culture. So I saw this as a great opportunity. Even though I had to take a pay cut, there were no bonuses in government environment. I was well aware of that, but I was willing to make this shift. Why? Because I wanted to do something for my government. Same thing why somebody joins Army, because they want to serve the country. I, on the other hand, wanted to do something for government as well, for the community that I live in. And I thought this would be a great payback to join, introduce lean, and hopefully improve some of the processes and help my community from that aspect. There was 84 candidates, if I'm not mistaken. And out of those 84 candidates, I was chosen, thank God, and got the job. So one of my first positions, I only held two positions at City of Grand Rapids. One of my first positions was operations manager for parking facilities like ramps and surface lots, leading the team. And there was another department that I had to lead, was the security team for the City of Grand Rapids, all criminal justice students. So what did I do? What should you do if you're a lean practitioner and join government for the first time, have zero experience in government? Yes, you may have gained some experience in manufacturing environment, maybe healthcare, but never worked for government. And the reason why I started this podcast is because I do have experience both in manufacturing government and then went back to the manufacturing and the private sector again after I left the government after 14 and a half years. It is a little bit different to introduce. And in future episodes, I'll talk more about that. But today I really want to focus on how to introduce, how to do the first steps. What can you do? First, what you need to do, number one, you need to observe. When you join government, let's say you have some lean experience, you're a lean practitioner, observe. Number two, and I think is most critical and most important one, is to listen. Listen to the people. Listen to the people you're working with. Listen to the leaders. Listen to everyone. And number three, don't give them any suggestions. Don't act like you know everything, and don't give them any suggestions. Even though if they ask you, they might have introduced you and say, this gentleman or this lady is a lean practitioner. They have this knowledge. They're going to help us solve some of our problems. When people hear that, they're going to start talking to you and asking you, what can we do differently? How can we fix this and that? During the introductory period, you do not solve no problems. Your job is to listen, observe. So that's what I did. So when I joined government, first of all, there was nobody to teach me my job. No one. No one was able to explain to me what my responsibilities were, how I'm going to lead the events, how I'm going to organize the events with the customers, how I'm going to get the information to the customers. Very little of the leadership at that time knew about that. And it's not their fault. It's because they had no written instructions, no SOPs, standing operating procedures. Nothing was there. And the gentleman who left 6 months before I came to the city to take his job, he retired one day. He was upset and just basically quit and took his early retirement. and nothing was written down, like I said. And the leadership at that time was not really well aware of all the tasks he had to do. They knew on the high level, but how to do every task specifically, they didn't know. And that's something that you might encounter when you join government. They depend a lot on tribal knowledge. Experienced employee training a new employee. Or what's even worse, in the government that I work for, in that local government, is that they didn't have a chance to have existing employee training a new employee, which was very odd for me. I came from a private sector, and that's like succession plan, right? Well, in government, what they do, this person ends on this date, and that's when the new person starts, which doesn't make any sense. There's no cross training. And that's what happened to me. It took me 12 months to learn my job. The reason why it took me 12 months is because there were different seasons, different events happening throughout the year. And because I didn't have any instructions or something to tell me how to do it, I had to ask people around me, like security officers who worked close with my predecessor, the managers and leaders who worked close with him, and others, booth attendants. And also I had to ask my customers. I learned a lot from my customers. And the way I learned, by failures. I failed a lot at the beginning because I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So people start calling me up and saying, well, this didn't happen. We had this event, and well, how come this didn't get executed or done? And I apologized. I apologized a lot in the first year. And I asked them kindly to be respectful and patient with me, and that I will learn, and promise that I will take care of them in the future. I also had to give away lots of free parking for my mistakes just to make the customer happy. Of course, my leaders knew about it, and they were very supportive of it. The other thing I didn't really like, the gentleman didn't like computers and didn't trust the computers. So every email that he had, replies, every email he received, he would print it out and file it. The only good thing it had a good system, visual management system. So I could tell by year, by month, all the emails, and some emails by customer as well. Important, not important. But it was a lot. It was so much that my office was packed with boxes. Boxes and boxes everywhere. There was no flat surface that I could use to set even a notepad down and a pen. That's how much paper was in this office. And then the team leader from security staff was laughing at me. He said, this is nothing. You should see our storage room on the second floor. We store some of our, like, security bikes. Those are old police bikes. It says police on them. And other things that they use during summer to patrol. They said, we can't even get to our bikes during the summer season. That's how packed it is. I said, how about you take me over there? So we went, and he showed me. And it truly was. As soon as you open the door, there are boxes everywhere, file cabinets. I can't remember how many, at least 20 of those big, tall file cabinets were full of documents, important documents. And I think most of it was junk. So that's another thing I had to deal with. So again, what did I do? I observed. No comments, no negative. Oh, this is horrible. Oh my God. No, nothing like that. Okay, show me. I want to learn the current status. Where am I? What is my starting point? What do you think about this? What is bugging you? Like this gentleman told me when he took me on the second floor to the storage room. He said, what really bugs me about this room, I care less about the paper, but you see those cones in the back. You see the bikes that we have, the vests, uniforms, old uniforms from previous parking facility security officers. We can't get to it. It's a mess. Then I went and spent some time on every shift. I had 3 shift supervisors who were my direct reports, and it was first, second, third shift. So I spent some time with supervisors to understand their process, their struggles, things that they have to do. Then I spent some time on all shifts. And that's important. When you start as a leader, lean leader, you have to meet all your employees. Yes, I had over 100 employees. Between parking operation, security, it was over 100. But I spent time with all of them, here and there. I mean, it didn't happen at once. It took me months to meet everyone and spend a little bit of time with them. But I spent time. The best opportunity I had, we had events. Whenever we had a big events, majority of our people would come and work for us during those events. And most our employees were seasonal or temporary employees. We only had like 20, 25 full-time parking facility attendants. And of course, supervisors were full-time as well. But I spent time with all of them. What did I do? Observe and listen. But also what happened while I was doing that, spending time at the Gamba, actual place of work, I gained some respect from my team. I was a new leader. You know how it goes when you get a new manager, a new leader. You evaluate them. You look at their behaviors. And one thing that can help you is if you really truly spend some time with your staff at their actual place of work. So that's very important in lean culture. Then after that, what I have done, I have documented everything like on an Excel spreadsheet, but printed out on my clipboard. So wherever I went, I carried that clipboard with me. And I've wrote down what people have told me about it, what struggles they are having, some of the ideas they're having. So I wrote everything down, and that helped me. Helped me a lot to understand the operation because I was new. I didn't know. I was like a baby. Didn't know nothing about the parking facility operations. Didn't know nothing about leading security team at that time. And also spent with some of my other colleagues, other managers. I spent time with them to learn facility maintenance. What does facility maintenance do? How do we help each other? Talk to somebody in finances and parking service to understand what my budgets are, what account codes am I responsible for, how to budget every year, and what it takes to create a budget every single year. And I spent some time with people in the office as well to understand their process, what they are going through. One thing that really helped me, I had a great leader, great boss. She was one of the best leaders I ever had, Pam Ritzma, one of the best. She empowered me, believed in me, let me try things, experiment, and learn from mistakes. And she was always there to coach me and help me. Later, in future episodes, I'll talk about how I helped her transform some of the departments. But she was there for me. That's very important. If you find a leader, when you go through the interview process and you want to start working for government, make sure you interview your leader too. Make sure you're going to get that buy-in from your leader. It's very, very hard to work with leaders that don't believe in lean. Unfortunately, I met some of those folks while working for government. And guess what happened? Not much. It was all about them. Not lean, not the people. Not the people they serve. Me, me, me. We're going to see this everywhere. Not just in government, in private sector too. I'm sure all of us can point out someone in our previous career that was acting like that. But if you have a good leader, like I did with Pam, I asked her before even joining the organization if she's willing to allow me time to learn the process, talk to everyone, see what obstacles we need to tackle, and give me some time. Because I can't just come in and just take over and start fixing things. Because I never fixed anything. I worked with a team. I led teams, and we worked together to fix things. So that's very important when it comes picking the right leader for implementing lean culture in any organization. And now we're talking about government. The other thing that I start doing from the get-go, as I was failing and learning from others, learning from my customers, I start developing my leader stand work. Because I truly did not know Monday to Friday what I had to do, what reports I had to do. Well, reports maybe, some of them, because my leader would tell me what she was expecting, people at City Hall, what they want to see. But general reports that need to be emailed, reports that need to be emailed to customers, for example, those reports, or the whole process, how to schedule an event, how to prepare parking tickets for an event tickets, how to schedule security team to support that event, how to schedule parking facility attendants, which was not my job, it was a supervised job, but just to understand that process was challenging for me. So I started creating leader standard work. As I was encountering things, I started to document. And it took me 12 months, truly 12 months to finish my leader standard work. And that's what Pam told me. She said, Alan, it's going to take you 12 months. And I said, come on, Pam. I never worked for any job where I had to learn for 12 months what to do. And she was laughing at me, but she was right. It took me 12 months to learn my job. And one of the reasons is because I didn't have that institutional knowledge that was passed down to me. There was no standing operating procedure, no work instructions, no standard work, nothing. There was nothing there for me. Then the next thing I have done is to prioritize with my supervisors. What problems do we want to solve? And this is very important in Lean. Always ask yourself and your team, what problems are we trying to solve? Don't just go and prove something. Don't just create some shiny objects to look cool or to impress someone. What you want to do in Lean from the first day is to make a positive change. Number 2, don't work on something that's going to take a long time to improve, even if it's going to save you millions of dollars. No, when you're introducing Lean to government, have some quick wins. Not that you are winning, your team. They need to feel that joy. And that's why I was looking to see what can I do quickly and improve something that is going to bring some joy to my employees, that is going to develop my team, let them do something, put in practice, and achieve something so they can celebrate. We can celebrate. And that is important. When you initially introduce Lean, get some quick wins. And that's what I did with each group. I did with parking facility attendants. I did with the security team. What did I do with parking facility attendants? So they had a huge list of things that bugged them, including my supervisors. So my supervisor told me, Alan, the biggest problem we have is we can't staff enough people because our booths are set up differently. So we only have certain people trained in certain booths, and we are unable to sometimes staff all those booths, and that is a big problem for us. So this is what was keeping them at night. Even though we had 100 people, they were not able to staff all those booths. So that was their problem. So I worked with them to solve that problem. One thing that I wanted to see when they mentioned that to me is why? Why were we having this problem? In Lean, root cause analysis is very important. Don't make assumptions. Even if somebody tells you what the problem is and they know the reason for it, still you need to go and verify that. And that's exactly what I did. Next event we had, I said, I'm going to go and look at all these booths. And then I went on foot and visited all the booths that were open that night. I spent from the beginning of their shift until the end of the shift walking the city, walking from booth to booth and talking to my people. I took notes, I took pictures, lots of pictures from each booth, which I later uploaded, documented, printed out. And we used that during our root cause analysis. Well, we found out some equipment is new, some is old, but they did have developed some different processes in different booths. And when we got together, my supervisors and some booth attendants and myself, to review everything, all the findings, and to see what we can do differently, we came to a conclusion that we need to standardize our booths, make them all 100% identical, even though they're different sizes, colors of the booths, windows might be a little bit different. They're not all the same. However, we wanted to standardize the equipment and process that we use inside the booth. And my idea was to standardize the smallest booth. And the reason for that was, if we standardize the smallest booth and we can fit all the equipment, cones, dustpan, brooms, shovels, snow shovels. Yes, we're talking about Michigan. Michigan gets a lot of snow in the winter. We wanted to standardize this in a small booth because if we could do that, then we're going to be able to do in all other booths. And that's exactly what happened. And after we made one good example of a booth, and we had several booth attendants test that and see what works, what didn't. We wanted to make sure everything's at point of use and everything makes sense, not to us, but to the booth attendant. even though we had one booth attendant on our team who was there for 25 years. She had lots of experience. We still wanted to hear from others, and we gained that input from others, where the broom should be and the ticket spit and all that. So they gave us a little input, and we got to the point after a couple of weeks, we had enough input. Everybody was happy with all the arrangements that we had done based on their input. We tested it, it works. So we said, good, let's document this booth as our standard booth. So what happened after that, I hired a temp, one of my existing employees, to work 40 hours a week, nothing but standardizing the booths throughout the city, making sure that he followed our process that we developed in the smallest booth. We bought some supplies, not a lot, but we did buy some supplies, like broom holders, dustpan holders, label printer to print some labels, stuff like that. Then what we did, the other problem that my people had, to be trained. And we didn't do such a great job onboarding and training new employees. And we had a high turnover. And instead of blaming people when they make mistakes, we were focusing on developing better training. And one thing that I asked Pam, and she allowed us, is to utilize the corner of the lunchroom where everybody comes in after they clock in and collect their money from the safe room. They would go to the lunchroom and put a lunch bag inside the fridge, buy some soda, Coke, and get some sweets maybe, or warm up their lunch during their lunch hours. So in that lunchroom, in the corner, we created like a demo area where we had a feed computers, older feed computers, ticket spitters. So basically everything we had inside the booth was kind of in that corner. So people can learn inside the lunchroom how to process parking tickets before we deploy them to the real booth. And that was really, really well received from existing employees, employees that had to train new employees, supervisors, experienced employees, as well those who were joining us. Their preference is to be trained in the lunchroom first before going to the real environment, to the booth, and dealing with the customers. So that was another thing. The other thing I want to mention, improvement that I have done with the security team now. Remember, I went, observed what they'd done, listened to them, documented it, and then assembled a team leaders and some other parking security officers. So what did we do? We talked about the biggest problems we have and we prioritized. And then we started addressing some. So one of the first things that was very important to them is training as well. Their job was to go around parking ramps and parking surface lots, to patrol those lots and make sure that customers are safe. Also to see if any customers need some assistance and to check on our equipment. Also on top of that, their job was to assist the customer when they need us. For example, if somebody runs out of gas, their job is to take a canister with 1 gallon of gas at no charge to the customer, fill up their cars so they can get to the next and the closest gas station. The other thing they had to do is safely unlock the vehicles when somebody forgot the keys in the car. So as long as they parked with us in our ramps and surface lots, we were providing that service at no cost to the customer. And they were using some tools, specialized tools to get into a vehicle. And that itself was a problem as well because of the poor training. They would sometimes scratch or damage customer vehicle. And if that happened and customer reported to me, we had to pay for those repairs. Luckily, we didn't have too many because we addressed that issue. And that's what was bugging my security officers. We created for the first time some standard work instructions for my team with pictures, with work elements, with times, with some key points and reasons why. And then later, on top of that, because this team really loved their phones and watching videos, and they said, this generation said they learned best from watching a video, like a YouTube video, we created some short videos. They were like a minute or two. For example, another thing they have done, if you had a flat tire, till today, if you have a flat tire, they would get your spare out and put that spare on for you at no cost. So they had to learn all this. So we had written, for those folks who like written, we had visuals, pictures, and then on top of that, we also had a video, which was very, very successful later on. I found out when we were onboarding new people. So this is how we addressed things. People start finding some joy. They felt good because we helped them solve the problem that bugs them. We helped them solve problems that keeps them up at night. So people said, I like lean. This is good. Why haven't we not done this before? Like organizing booths. And I'll talk more about that. Basics, right? For those of you that are familiar with lean. So I have done the basics. And this is how I initially started to introduce lean to government, to my team and my colleagues around me. So what I really wanted to share with you today are some real examples. How I started, how I spent time observing everybody's process, how I listened, documented, and how I started creating my own latest kind of work. I know at some point I'm going to leave that position, that department, and I wanted to leave better for the other person and not have them go through the same struggle that I had initially when I started. So they have something, they have a latest kind of work, they have a strategic plan. So they have some documentation so they can begin working, learning, and applying the tools that I have developed for them. That is what I wanted to share with you today, how to introduce lean to government, what you can do, first steps, baby steps you need to take. I want to thank you for listening today for the second episode of Lean in Government. I truly hope that you're going to subscribe and like and share this video with others that are thinking about going to government, that are currently working in government, or just in general, anyone that wants to learn lean. Because what I'm sharing here today and in future episodes, everyone can apply that. But my really focus is focusing more on people in government. Because later I'm going to be talking about how I led some of the projects, many projects, how I worked to introduce lean to different departments, what challenges we had, what kind of success did we see, what opportunities for improvement did we found, working together as a team. Like I said in the first episode, I spent working for government 14 and a half years, very long time. But I was lucky to have the ability to spend 50% of my time working on those lean initiatives within different departments, not even my own, because I had a great leader. And that's what helped me. I really had a great leader who empowered me, who believed in me, let me experiment, and let me show what lean can do. And I really thank my leader and people that work with me, because without that leadership support that I had, I would not have any of that success. I really, truly thank them for everything they have done and for their full support. I hope you enjoyed this second episode, and I hope to see you next time in our episode number 3. Till then, goodbye.